we don't need to go through the chairman's unmemorized speech. And while we are waiting for the amendment from OLS, Mickey has prepared an amendment, whatever it is. 1027. Did you send that to everyone, Mickey, or not?
Everybody should have it, and it is on the website now too.
Okay. So, Mickey, do you want to go through and explain what this does and what it will cause us to do?
Sure. So the two amendments that we approved earlier today had transfers between the Education Trust Fund and the general fund included. So if you recall, the first one that we had done that had the DOT transfers and, the DOT, thank you, Andrea, DOT and school building aid in there. There was a transfer over the biennium of $36.7 million out of the Education Trust Fund to fund some things. The second amendment that we adopted this morning had a $100 million swing of money going the other way. So it was suggested that rather than having 36.7 going one way and $100 million going the other way, we just do the net of that, which is 63.3 going one way. So what the committee could do is, if you wanted to adopt this amendment, I would modify those previously approved amendments to take out the transfers so we don't have multiple transfers happening. We can just do it one time. So there's no net impact of this motion. It's just instead of two swings of money, we're just going to do one to kind of clean up House Bill 2 as well as the surplus statement.
Anyone have any thoughts?
Yep. Madam Chair?
Yes, please go ahead.
My question is, so this means that we will not take money out of the Education Trust. We'll simply reduce the amount of money coming into the Education Trust.
Right.
And so it keeps it clean that way and accomplishes not taking money out of the trust to be used for DOT.
Yeah, those appropriations for DOT will still occur from the general fund. It's just there's going to be no money exiting the Education Trust Fund. Yes.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping it would do. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I wanted to, I understand all these amendments because I'm here, but I was worried going forward if people are trying to reconstruct things going backwards, that might be confusing. But the way Representative Heath just posed her question to Mickey, it seems like it is actually less confusing. And I like that it doesn't make this, we're not looking at taking money from education out of the trust fund, which is, for a lot of people, a very, very uncomfortable thing to do. So this is putting in basically less money into the education trust fund that we're going to use, and the transportation money comes out of general fund. So I think I'm repeating what Representative Heath said. I wanted to make sure that that's kind of what it means.
Yep, that's a correct understanding. And as far as trying to track all the work we're doing, I'm going to do something once we officially close our business on House Bill 1 and 2 that'll make it clear for the committee and the public. We'll put it online as far as what the division ultimately has recommended for amendments and changes to the budget that you'll be bringing to the full committee. It's not uncommon that we adopt amendments and then reconsider them. And, whether it's on a Zoom or in a committee meeting, sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. But certainly when we're done our business, I will make it clear as to, what we've got in our plan to bring to the full committee.
I'm very supportive of it. They've not, I guess realistically, or not taking money out of the education trust fund, but just, so I get it. Thank you so much.
Okay, are there any other comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion to approve amendment 1027H.
So moved.
And just to modify or expand on the motion, it's also to, in place of those transfer sections in the previously approved, just so that's clear for everybody,
Yeah.
as discussed.
Okay. All right, Representative Petrie made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Mary Heath.
Thank you. Mhm. Representative Lynn, are you in the mood to call the roll or are you striking?
No, I'm in the mood. Thank you. All right. Representative Petrie,
Petrie moves yes.
Representative Bucco,
Bucco votes yes.
Representative Heath,
Heath votes yes, and thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes yes.
Representative Lynn votes yes. Representative Murray
Murray votes yes.
and Representative Umberger.
Representative Umberger votes yes.
All right, it's a vote of 7-0 in the affirmative, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mickey, I just saw the amendment from Representative Ladd.
Yeah, so the amendment that he just sent, I can share that language with us, but that is an amendment to Senate Bill 135, not to House Bill 2, so we can't really use it but we can look at the language and, while the House Bill 2 amendment is being drafted, you can at least have the discussion.
Okay, and then that way. Okay,
So if you'd like, I can bring that up and we can.
Yeah. Do you want to bring Matt up in as well?
Or we'll bring Mark in.
Or Mark, excuse me.
A lot of M names flying around.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay.
Let me, bear with me.
Mark, perhaps you could kind of walk us through what this does. And why it's something that appears to be necessary.
Mhm.
You could.
So when the governor was modeling out adequacy as well as all of the fiscal notes we've been providing, we've been under the assumption that we are hoping for a normal spring assessment. So spring assessment is that we'll be doing the third grade reading assessment, testing for third grade reading proficiency. And those numbers, depending on how people score, how kids score, gets rolled into a differential aid category called the third grade reading differential aid category. So we've been assuming that for 2021, the spring we're in right now, we'll have normal assessment numbers, but now we're starting to have doubts that we'll have wide participation in our schools with assessment. So those numbers that we provided, that the governor has put in his model for adequacy, and the numbers we've been providing to Mickey are based on 2019 assessment data. So what the amendment I sent to you and Mickey has us look at 2019 data and have us look at 2021 data and pick the better data set. So what it would do is completely match how the governor has built adequacy and completely match how all the formulas, all the adequacy spreadsheets you've been looking at, we're based on the assumption that 2020 assessment data would match 2019. So all this amendment does is we will look at 2019 assessment data and we look at 2021 assessment data and pick the greater of the two data sets. So it's not predicted to have any impact on your budget.
Are there questions from anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Representative Murray.
Thank you. I'm not sure when we've got these little pictures, what you can actually see. Can you
Yeah.
explain to me why it wouldn't have an effect on the budget? Because there's going to be a difference in the numbers in the ADMA, and why wouldn't that have an effect on the budget? Thank you.
Yeah, so it will impact the numbers certainly, but when the governor was building his budget, he assumed in that 900 some odd million that you have in front of you, he assumed assessment would be around the 2019 levels. And so he's so all we're doing is making sure that a assumption takes place. Because we'll probably have really low participation in the assessments in 2021, which will pay the state fiscal year 2022 adequacy. So for budgeting purposes, this will have no impact because it would be essentially using the same numbers that have already built into your assumption that will have a clean assessment in 2021. So we'll have no, it's just having the law match the assumptions essentially.
Thank you.
Representative Heath?
So thank you, Madam Chair. So this actually fixes the enrollment issue. That, but this piece of it is only specific to that category itself. It does not cross categories. So we would only be using the enrollment data for this one purpose, or will this cover all purposes? Will this fix the problem that school districts across the state are going through right now?
No.
So Representative Heath, what you're looking at is Senate Bill 135, which covers all of the ADMA components, like you just said. So that covers your regular enrollment,
Yep.
FNR, third grade reading, special education. That's what Senate Bill 135 does. If you were just looking to fix the third grade issue, third grade reading assessment data, that's the amendment I've passed on to Representative Umberger. But yeah, this one would deal with all the ADMA components, but I've drafted a draft language to fix just the third grade reading component.
If I may,
Yeah, certainly.
so this then will not apply to the overall adequacy, only to this reading issue.
Yep, the amendment that's OLS is currently working on would only apply to the third grade reading component. That's correct.
Madam Chair, can I ask another question?
Yes, you may.
So that we know that school districts across the state have seen big drops. Manchester's seen at least 600 to 700, Nashua 600 to 700, and that pretty much parlays pretty much with free and reduced lunch as well. So this amendment will not relate to those numbers, or will it?
It's tricky. The amendment in front of you that's on the screen would do what you're saying, would relate to all those numbers. But the amendment that OLS is drafting would not cover base enrollment and all the other components.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, Representative Heath, I think that 135 covers all those things that you're talking about. But this amendment is specific to third grade reading, period.
Okay.
And that, yeah, and that they're asking for this amendment to make sure that what's calculated in our formula matches what the law is. And right now it does not.
So to better clarify, the amendment that OLS is working on right now really syncs up to, if you look at line 6, just that component. Line 6 to line 11. That would just deal with the third grade reading. Essentially, that would just deal with third grade reading.
You have a follow-up, Representative Heath?
I do, thank you, Madam Chair. So again, this will not solve the problem that districts are having overall. This will just address one piece of it.
This will not fund,
Okay.
if they're suffering loss in enrollments, this will not give them extra money for those loss enrollments.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from anyone? Okay, so when this amendment gets back from OLS, is there anyone that will have a problem approving it? Okay, I don't see that. So we will close this out. Mary, did you have another question or, oh. Okay, unmute. No, you're still muted.
Sorry, my screen moved over and I couldn't see the mute button.
Don't,
just wanna-
listen, it's quite
I
all
just want to
right.
be clear, we support that section of it, but I'm also concerned that it doesn't fix the bigger issue that school districts have across the state. And SB 135 addresses some of it, but not all of it. So yes, we support the section, but we'd like to see more.
I certainly understand that, Representative Heath, and I think that's what your amendment is trying to address.
I think
Right
you're-
right now, okay, we need to fix the third grade reading scores or whatever, third grade pupils scoring below proficient. And I have no idea when they'll have the tests to make to figure that out. So, okay. I understand that Mickey has sent the amendment that you have proposed or are proposing.
Yeah, amendment 1028H, Representative Heath's amendment was just emailed to everybody. And we've got it online too. If it's not already there, it'll be refreshed shortly. So the public can find it there too. So we can share that screen as well. I may see if Andrea is available to do that.
Well, she looks like a stick figure, but I assume that means she's there.
I am here, Madam Chair, and it is actually online. I will bring it up right on the screen for you right now.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andrea.
You're absolutely welcome, Madam Chair. It's up on the screen now if everyone can see it.
Okay. Representative Heath, you want to walk through this for us?
I'd be happy to, and then I'm sure Mickey will help me if I'm inaccurate on any point. So basically what this amendment says, it appropriates the $100 million for the fiscal year ending 23 to the Education Trust. And I'm going to just move down to number 2, where it says for fiscal years 2022-23, the total education grant to each municipality pursuant to RSA 198:41 shall be adjusted to an amount no less than such grant in prior years, which takes care of the issue around enrollment. However, total adjustments for the biennium ending June 30th, 2023 shall not exceed $100 million unless pursuant to paragraph 3, the Department of Education shall prorate adjustments as necessary. So what section 3 does, any unspent surplus balance in the Education Trust Fund as of June 30th, 2023 shall be applied to increase the $100 million cap on the total education grant. So basically, this is like a waterfall effect. If more revenue is coming into the state, then those funds would be applied, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mickey, these funds would be applied to the allocations in districts. Now, I just want to use, I'm going to use Farmington because that's a district where Representative Petrie comes from. And if you look at the chart that was sent to you this morning by Mickey, you'll see that what Farmington would receive under House Bill 623 and then under 135. So the amount for Farmington, it's over $1 million. It would be prorated based on the amount of money we have, because now it's only $100 million. And so without any of this, Farmington only gets about $200,000. And I don't have the chart in front of me, so I'm just doing estimates. So each school district will effectively get more funding based on the allocations that we sent out in the last biennium. But I think the advantages of this, the proposal, the previous proposal that we have, it reduces statewide property taxes by a certain percentage. But in fact, those communities that have been most hit with the impact of COVID, and that it's more difficult for them to raise property taxes, what will happen is we're going to see maybe on one side something's going to go down, but then on the local property taxes, we're going to see an increase. So I think all in all, the districts that need the bigger benefit that's offered through this amendment will win. And with the other amendment, everybody gets a reduction, but many will end up seeing a significant increase in their property taxes based on the fact that there will not be a higher level of adequacy funding for those districts. I think I've covered everything. Mickey, what am I missing?
I think that covers what this amendment does.
So I ask for your support for this amendment. It's an amendment that it fixes the enrollment numbers. It adds to the amount of money going to school districts. And I think in the long run, effectively, this will result in a more proportionate reduction, I know, well, in property taxes than what the initial proposal will do. And, it's just the more affluent school districts are going to make out on this, and the poorer school districts like Farmington, like Berlin, like Manchester, Nashua, so many of these districts that have so felt the impact of the pandemic won't feel the benefits that this amendment will offer. So I ask for your support. Thank you very much.
Does anyone else have any comments? Representative Murray?
Thank you. Yeah, I had a couple things. One, what appeals to me about this in particular, that this is education trust fund money that is going directly to education, as opposed to kind of taking a backward spin towards the swept funds. It also provides the municipalities the opportunity, if it suits what they want to do, to make their own decisions about how to manage the swept funds. I was trying to do some math very quickly, and I probably did not do it well. I was looking up the numbers of Farmington since Representative Heath brought that up, and quickly, and I could be wrong, so I'm a little anxious about this, but it's a significant amount of money that Farmington would get going this route, as opposed to sort of the difference between, everybody in town getting $20 to do whatever they want with, as opposed to aggregating all that money and putting all that money directly towards education. So I do like that this is education money that is directed immediately towards education, as opposed to another program. So that's my comments.
Is there anyone else that has a comment? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. And I guess that on line 6, where it says shall be adjusted to amount no less than such grant in the prior year. So this is taking it back to 21. even though the money that was provided in 21 from the adequacy was a number I don't have in front of me. But that is the number that you would be working from. Because that's what that says.
Yes.
Okay, so. Ow. I'm just getting my book. Sorry. I just wanted to see what was, Vicky, maybe you know the answer as opposed to me, unless you're,
Yeah, so are you looking for the total estimated, essentially what the level would be compared to, no less than, like that, what the amount was in 21 essentially?
yes,
So it's about 1,013 million is the number
Okay.
that we've got for
But-
that.
but is that just adequacy or is that adequacy plus?
That's the total education grant. So that includes
Yeah.
adequacy, stabilization, swept, that's retained locally, everything.
Right, but is it that figure is the 62,000 million plus, is that correct?
Yeah, that 62 million was part of that. So that one-time fiscal capacity disparity aid and additional aid on free and reduced lunch is
Mhm.
part of that $1 billion number too.
Okay, so that $62 million would have to come out of here because that was not provided in adequacy. It was provided someplace else.
It's not in the cost of an adequate education, but it was in the calculation of a total education grant. So the intent of this amendment is to include everything, including that additional $62.5 million for that one-time money.
I don't understand that, I'm sorry.
So for the purposes of this amendment and the term total education grant refers to the cost of adequacy, right? As well as any swept that's raised and retained locally, any stabilization grant, or in the case of fiscal 21, those one-time additional aid components of fiscal capacity disparity and free and reduced lunch enhanced. So when we talk total education grant in the terms of fiscal 21, it includes all of those components and it's around just over $1 billion.
Okay. And our number for this year
In the budget before you now, and we haven't touched this line, it's 933 million in fiscal 22 and 946 million in fiscal 23.
and so this is attempting to make up for the 1.024 billion, is that correct?
The true amount ended up being 1.013 billion, but yes, that's the idea.
That was how much was, well,
That's how much was budgeted, but the actual ended up being more like 1.013 billion.
so that's 54 and 60, right?
I think the numbers I got here are 74 and 67 for 22 and 23. So that's about $141 million over the biennium we were talking about this morning. However, this amendment provides only $100 million of that estimate, therefore the proration provision.
Okay, all right. I got it. Okay. So, again, my concern, as I spoke earlier about the other amendment, is that the school districts will expect this amount of money no matter what happens. And that is my concern. If ADM goes down, then it doesn't matter. Because you're saying in here that the number of children don't matter. The number of free and reduced lunch doesn't matter. Nothing matters. They're gonna get this no matter what. And that is a total and complete change to how we do education funding. It reminds me of the stabilization grant, where we're still paying school districts for stabilization. And what this reminds me of is that's exactly what the way this bill is worded and what I understand would occur. And I don't think in my mind that we can continue to pay schools for children that don't exist. And that's one of my very major concerns about this this legislation. So I see I've got two hands raised and I don't know who they are. Nikki, does it tell me here someplace?
Representative Heath and Representative Murray have their hands raised.
Okay, that's fine. Representative Heath, were you first?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I agree with you completely. However, right now, we're in a time unlike any other. We are in a biennium, and this would affect, am I correct, Mickey? It only would impact this biennium, because then thereafter, it's going to go back to the ADMA count. That's how enrollments are fixed. But remember, we have a year lag. So what school districts, they got their funding, but then the following year, when you project out, they're going to be hit with this completely odd enrollment number that doesn't really reflect what happened, and it is directly due to COVID. So I really think it's a win-win situation with this amendment. Everybody wins this way, and it helps to fix a problem that has erupted as a direct result of COVID. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Murray?
Thank you. Your point around the enrollment is, spot on. Is there, Nikki maybe can help us out, is there a way to adjust the language here to reflect the concern that this, going forward, how it is done, it is based on the ADA? And, I see where one could read this of it not being there. I also take Representative Heath's point in that this was such a one-off year. I mean, with the COVID, hardly any, all the numbers are kind of spurious. So is there a way to address Representative Umberger's concern that, in the end, this needs to reflect actual enrollments? Can we work with that somehow?
I mean, current law is essentially a per capita formula. So if not doing anything is essentially paying the formula based on the kids at the schools. The idea with a couple of the pieces of legislation from the Senate were to use the ADM counts from the year prior to the pandemic to calculate grants. House Bill 623 took a different approach and just said, don't even artificially recalculate the student counts, just determine, is this grant calculated going to be less than what you got last year, and then just bring everybody up to what they got the year before. So there are a few different legislative proposals to manipulate ed funding for 22 and 23. To do, just to make the payments be directly to how many students are in the counts, that's essentially current law.
But the governor the governor used the free and reduced lunch from 19.
The governor, so what's in House Bill 2 that we've already accepted to stay in House Bill 2 is an adjustment to the free and reduced lunch counts based on their portion of, or proportion of free and reduced lunch kids the year before. So yes, there is in the budget already that we've, in sections 45 and 46, approved an adjustment to the free and reduced lunch ADM. So that is in there now, yes.
Okay. So I know that, and again, we talked about this earlier, and that is expectations. And I am very concerned, just like this year, I can't tell you the number of emails that I received that they're polite, but basically saying, I want my $90 million. And so instead of 90 million, they're now going to want 90 million plus 100 million to make up for what they believe they have lost. And I guess that the other thing, from my perspective anyhow, is that according to DOE, there are really no strings attached. I shouldn't say whatsoever, but there are very few strings attached to the 350 billion that's going to be distributed to the schools. I guess 320 is going to actually be distributed to the schools. So I just am not in favor of creating this expectation, knowing that the money that they will be getting from DOE to spend can be spent any way that it needs to be. And so I thank you, and I understand your passion, okay? I mean, I do. But I just think that this is not the right way to spend this money, because with the other amendment, we're actually reducing taxes. And this, I'm afraid, as we went on, would not accomplish that same thing, because it seems every time we have provided money to the school systems, instead of taxes going down, taxes have gone up. You know, I mean, there are all kinds of reasons why taxes go up. I won't argue that, but anyhow, Representative Heath.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just let me talk to that a little bit. School districts will be receiving federal dollars. That's absolutely true. But those federal dollars are, adequacy goes out to school districts directly. That goes right to the municipality. So they have that money. With the federal dollars that are coming in, they do not go directly to the school district. They are provided to the school district on a reimbursement methodology based on a plan that the school district sends to the Department of Ed. So for example, Manchester, in the first pot of money, they got $6.7 million. And they haven't spent that much of it yet, because they decided to use a huge portion of that money to buy equipment. And there was a drag on the equipment order. It's taken a lot longer because everybody needs new computers and new technology equipment right now. So the city of Manchester can't say, we need this money now. They have to wait until they spend those dollars and then ask for reimbursement for those dollars. So that kind of creates this double whammy. So when some school districts are getting these funds, their local school district financial situation is such that if they go out and spend, let's say, $2 or $3 million, they have to spend it first. And then that creates a fiscal issue right there and then, that it takes at least a month for the Department of Ed to reimburse the school district for those dollars that they expended, those federal dollars. So you've got a cycle going on. What we're looking at now, by doing this amendment, we'd be directing dollars directly to school districts over which they don't have to make a purchase first. They have available to them right away. The federal dollars don't work like that. My point is that why I feel that this amendment assists them in this arena. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Heath, I know that you've mentioned a couple times the computers at in Manchester. Do you have any idea how much is tied up in that?
Oh, it's about $2 million.
Okay, and so the other 4 is what?
I haven't checked. That was quite a while ago. We had met with the commissioner and Caitlin to look at that pot of money and then to look at the next amount of money that was coming into the city. And so it's been a while, so I don't know what they have drawn down at this point in time.
Yeah, Mark, are you still on the line?
Yep. Sorry, I don't know the issue that's going on with Manchester. Is it, you're looking for that $4 million?
Well, what Representative Heath said is that they had obligated about 2 million for computers and that they had received 6 million. And so I was wondering what they are doing with the other 4 million. Has it been spent? Has it not been spent? Have the computers come in? Have they not come in?
Yeah, I can look into that.
But Madam Chair,
I mean, I'm just, all I'm saying is that I understand how education funding works in federal grants. And it's, I don't like it, okay? I would much rather have DOE pay the bill and not have to go through the rigmarole that they do. But unfortunately, I think that's how the education federal grants work. So maybe you could work on that, Mary, is getting the education department to change that. But anyhow, okay. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Oh, Representative Heath.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'd like to move the motion. I think that move the amendment. And I just think that at this point in time, this is something we need to do. And in the long run, we'll go back to the regular, what the law says in terms of the ADMA count. But I do think this step is a better step for us to take with that $100 million rather than to reduce the school-wide property tax for each community. I just think the bigger bang is going to come from the 100,000 going directly to school districts. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would ask one of my colleagues or someone to make a second to this motion.
I will second it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. This is Amendment 1028H. Representative Lynn, when you're ready to call the roll, please do.
Thank you. Representative Petrie,
Representative Petrie votes no.
Representative Bucco,
Bucco votes yes.
Representative Heath,
Heath votes yes.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes no.
Representative Lynn votes no. Representative Murray,
Murray votes yes.
and Representative Umberger.
Votes no.
Madam Chair, the vote is 4-3 in the negative.
Okay. So the amendment fails. Okay. Representative Heath, did you have,
I do.
comment?
Let's say thank you for allowing us the time to be able to come forward with this amendment. Thank you very much.
well, I feel, I feel very honestly, if this amendment had come in a week ago, you would have had the time. And I think that it's only fair that we allowed you the time to do this. So, and your arguments are all very good arguments. We just have a different philosophy on what's the right thing to do with this. So, Mickey, have we gotten the amendment yet from OLS?
No, we have not. So an option is you could make a motion to, we saw the language drafted in another bill. I can just be tasked with making sure the House Bill 2 amendment is drafted, and you don't have to vote on a number if you are nearing the end of business and you want to wrap it up. That's up to you. We've done that in the past. We haven't had to do that this session because we've had everything prepared and in time, but that's not something we haven't done in the past. So.
Okay, so
I don't-
the motion would be to ensure the language from, oh, I'm in the wrong thing.
And the only thing that I'll just point out is we would just tack it on to the related section in section 45 in House Bill 2. So that's another kind of different thing from that amendment we looked at on Senate Bill 135. It was a new section. For House Bill 2, we would add it on to an existing related section. Same language though.
Yeah, okay. So can we move that the language from Amendment 1010 to SB 135 be placed in HB 2?
Certainly. Yeah.
And that'll take care of it, okay?
Yeah, that does it for me. I mean, I expect to get the amendment any second now, and then we'll have it, and I'll make sure the committee has it. We'll put it online, but you can kind of preempt that and just take a motion, take a vote now, allowing us to do that.
Okay, and then if the amendment comes in while we're voting, we can change our motion.
Yep.
Okay, Representative Murray.
Can you just give me a 12-word refresher of what this is doing?
Okay. My understanding, what this is doing is that it is determining the ADMA for third grade pupils at the school for the school year 2019 and 2020, and putting that into the budget for adequate education. It's already there. They just didn't have authority to do it. Is that correct, Mickey?
Yeah, the amount that's in the budget now out of the governor's office kind of assumed that the assessments were going to go forward. And so this will allow DOE to use ADMs associated with that third grade reading component. It would be advantageous to the districts, and then it'll line up with what's in the budget now. So there is no budget impact to this. Mark was correct, and we'll just kind of put in that clarification in House Bill 2.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
So moved, Madam Chair.
No, oh, okay, thank you. I thought I had a motion already, but maybe I didn't. Okay, so that was Representative Petrie.
Yes, sir.
And
And
a
I'll
second.
second.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, before I call the roll, can I just ask, am I correct that the amendment number we're talking about is 1010?
Well, that's the current amendment to SB 135. The HB 2 amendment we'll have a new amendment.
We'll have a new
number.
number. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, I understand what you're saying. All right. Okay.
I don't understand. I am ruining my pens. One more ran out of ink.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Representative Petrie,
Representative Petrie votes yes.
Representative Buca,
Bucos, yes.
Representative Heath,
Heath votes yes.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes yes.
Lynn votes yes. Representative Murray
Murray votes yes.
and Representative Umberger.
Representative Umberger votes yes.
A vote of 7-0 in the affirmative.
Thank you. And Mark, I want you to tell the folks in DOE they owe us.
Will do.
Okay? No, they owe us big
Thank you for
time.
that fix.
Jeez. Well, Mickey's hair is turning gray.
There's not much
Okay.
there to turn gray either, but it is.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Okay, so, is there anything else to be brought before the division?
I have no other change requests, amendments, anything. So I think we are, I think we're ready to wrap up if the committee is.
Okay, so, oh, yes, Representative Heath.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick question. I just want to make sure that the amendment that we voted on before just trued up the money coming into the trust fund, and the money, we're not using that money from the trust fund to go to DOT. Is that correct?
The net impact of Division Two's recommendations at this point is general funds into the Education Trust Fund.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so nothing else. If there's anybody out there, don't call me, okay? Call somebody else. So the first motion is to allow for the office, the LBA assistant, to make technical corrections if needed to HB 1 and HB 2 amendments adopted in order to meet the division's intent.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. Bob, I can forward these to you, and then you don't have to write all the words down.
Oh, okay. Sure, that's fine. I'm just making notes so I remember, just so I kind of remember what's happening.
Right. Okay. Are you ready to call the roll?
I am, yes. Yes, so Representative Petrie,
Representative Petrie votes yes.
Representative Bucco,
Bucco votes yes.
Representative Heath,
Heath votes yes.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes yes.
Lynn votes yes, Representative Murray,
Murray votes yes.
and Representative Umberger.
Representative Umberger votes yes.
It's a 7-0 vote in the affirmative to allow Mr. Landrigan to, as you say, true up the language to meet our intent.
Okay. All right, now I've got one other motion here. And that is for HB 1, a motion to accept the governor's recommended budget as amended through previously adopted division changes for the departments of safety, fish and game, transportation, and education, as well as the Lottery Commission, Police Standards and Training Council, University System of New Hampshire, and the Community College System of New Hampshire. Okay, this is just the formal HB1 adoption. Are there any questions on that? Okay, seeing none. You know, before we go on, we haven't talked about police standards and training for a month. And it was just, or fishing. Oh, no, we did make a change to Fish and Game. So it's just kind of funny to have that here, but we're done. Okay. Representative Lynn.
Right, so can I just add, to make sure I'm understanding, what you basically just said is, we're moving to approve the governor's budget subject to all the changes that we've made during the course of our hearings on the budget. That's sort of the bottom line.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, so we vote on changes, right? So for instance, all the different line items, positions added here and there, but this is just to confirm everything we didn't change is going to remain unchanged from how it came to us. That's really the purpose of this, just to make it clear.
Sure, no, I appreciate that. All right. Thank you very much for the clarification.
So moved, Madam.
Okay, thank you, Representative Petrie. Do I have a second?
A second?
Okay,
All right.
when
All right,
you are ready, Representative Lynn?
Yes, thank you. Representative Petrie,
Petrie votes yes.
Representative Bucco,
Bucco votes no.
Representative Heath,
Keith votes no.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes yes.
Representative Lynn votes yes. Representative Murray
Murray votes no.
and Representative Umberger.
Representative Umberger votes yes.
All right, it's a vote of 4-3 in the affirmative.
Okay, so I know you're voting against the budget. I got it. No matter what, no matter how agreeable we were during the course of our negotiations over the budget and HB2, I understand. Okay, so there's no animosity, I guess is what I want to say on my part. It's the way it goes. So thank you all. I hope I'll be right with you, Representative Heath. I hope all of you have seen the notices from Janet. I was quite surprised when I got them this morning, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Monday, we're doing the bills that we have retained, and as far as I know, all of the bills that were on that list were retained. And then in the afternoon, we will start the HB1 and HB2. And we'll go until we're finished, I guess. I mean, we'll stop sometime on Monday and then start back again at 9 o'clock on Tuesday. And then we will be briefing the legislature on March 5th, yeah, on April 5th at 1 o'clock. Okay. And so, and that requirement is that it needs to be completed 2 days prior to when we're going to vote on the budget. And it's my understanding that HB1 and HB2 will be very early on in the session on the 7th. Either first or second, I don't know which, but it will be, it'll be right up there. So That'll be on down in Bedford, okay? So, Representative Heath.
Just, I want to reiterate my thank yous to you, Madam Chair. It has been a pleasure, and I really feel that although I couldn't vote in the affirmative for this budget, I feel that we have a much better budget coming out of Division 2 than it came to us. So thank you. The whole group worked together so well, and you afforded us a lot of opportunities, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I try to make sure that we're all there. And oh, by the way, we get to start again on the Senate bills that will be coming to us, but we'll see what that is. So Representative Lynn.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess what I just want to make sure I'm clear. So next, first of all, we're not going to be meeting tomorrow. Is that right? Because
That's correct.
We're done. And then starting next week, the Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, that's with the full Finance Committee, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had that right. All right, thank you.
Okay. We got the amendment on the third grade reading. It's the same thing, but it's amendment 1030. So Mickey, would it be a little cleaner if we just voted on this, or do we need to?
You can if you want. If you want to just have a official vote for each number, that's certainly a reasonable thing to do. We can do that if you want.
Okay, I just think it would be cleaner to make sure that we had all of our own numbers, so. Do I have to reconsider that other vote? Nah.
No.
No, okay, I didn't think so. Okay, Representative Lynn,
Yes.
okay.
So I'll call the
Do I
roll.
yeah, I need a motion.
Right, I'll make that motion to put forth 2021 1030 H.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Now we're ready.
Okay, 1 second. All right. Representative Petrie,
Senator Petrie votes yes.
Representative Bucco,
Bucco votes yes.
Representative Heath,
Heath votes yes.
Representative Murner,
Representative Murner votes yes.
Representative Lynn votes yes. Representative Murray
Murray votes yes.
and Representative Umberger.
Representative Umberger votes yes.
All right. So it's a
Okay.
vote of 7-0 in the affirmative.
Okay, thank you. Did someone have their hand up before? Oh, yes. Representative Murray.
I just wanted to add my thanks. You were just incredibly gracious and very, very patient with all of us. And I just want to let you know. We'll have to have a drink sometime and talk that over, but I really, really appreciate how really gracious you were and your incredible patience. And I think this was a very enjoyable committee with which to work. And I thought, we all didn't get where we wanted to be, but I think we did basically good work and we worked well together. So thank you.
Oh, listen, you're quite welcome. And as I said, we will continue to do this as we move forward. We've got a year and a half or more to work together. And even with our new members and our substitute members that we've had, it seems like in the last 2 weeks, we've had different people every day, but I think it's worked out well. And I ask that you have a good rest of the day, and I will see everyone but Troy on Monday.
I had one
Unless
more thing. No,
Oh, yes, I'm
actually,
sorry.
you probably won't see me. That's my second COVID shot. So
Okay.
Mary is going to arrange a sub for me. I intend to listen in as much as I can, but I obviously won't be able to participate. But I do want to hear the discussion as much as I possibly can. But I'm going for COVID number 2.
Okay, well, you know, the morning, the morning, Kate, is all, or well, however long it takes us to get through the retained bills.
Yeah, if we could do a half and half sub, then, I would be down with that, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's allowed.
No, that's not allowed. Once you sub, you're
Once you
you're
sub, you
sub.
sub.
Mhm. Yeah,
Marjorie Porter will be joining us.
pardon?
Marjorie
Oh.
Porter will be joining us because she's
Oh,
familiar with what we've been doing.
right. And Mickey, do you have too much work to do this weekend?
Actually, the goal is going to try to get a lot of it done before the weekend. I think we're going to, whatever documents that we prepare for Monday, obviously we'd like to get them at least digitally into the hands of the committee members as soon as we can. So keep your emails, open, and we will be putting everything online. I'll probably be putting some sort of summary, just an easy to read summary of what we've done in division, just so everyone can kind of make sense of some of the reconsiderations we did and some of the motions that kind of affected previous amendments, specifically that transfer thing I know is tripping some people up. So we'll clarify some things. And that was a long answer to an easy question. Yeah, I'll probably be working this weekend.
Mickey, you deserve more thanks than I could ever express.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes, we, every budget in Division 2, we have one steady hand, and that's Mickey. We can't thank him enough. And Andrea, I know that you're helping Mickey do a lot of things that are well behind the scenes, but it's so good to meet you and to have you as part of our team. So, okay.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. The pleasure's all mine.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Okay, so we'll see you Monday. And remember, the budget isn't over until the committee of conference finishes their work. So there's plenty of opportunities to see what happens. So thank you all. Thank you, Mickey. Have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.